everyone, and welcome to the Unisys ClearPath webinar series. Today's topic, Unisys ClearPath Forward MCP Software Series Platinum. Our first speaker for you today is Trudy Widener, Product Manager for ClearPath Forward MCP. And with that, Trudy, the audience is yours.
Thank you very much, Matt. Good morning and welcome to our Platinum webinar. Today we'll be launching the Platinum product, and we hope that you'll find that this is very interesting and might be able to help you in your data center environment. Many of our clients have been with us for many, many years, and they've been traveling down this road with us for decades, in fact, and they process some of the most demanding workloads that any data center processes worldwide. And they're very sensitive to security and business critical workloads. So today with Platinum, we're introducing increased flexibility, choice, and performance into our MCP Software Series product line. Today's agenda, the first thing we'll talk about is our Platinum product, the ClearPath MCP Software Series Platinum. We'll then talk about the enhancements that we've made for CSS 3.0 that affect all of the Software Series product line for MCP. And then I'd like to go over some of the enhancements that we made to our Libra systems earlier this year. And then I want to go over how to choose between Software Series and our Libra product line. So we'll be talking about all of those different items, and then we'll be talking about services, and Steve Cause will be telling you about the new services that will be offered with Platinum. So with that, I'll go ahead and get this kicked off. We've had some of our clients say some very nice things about Software Series. They're very happy with the choices that they now have available to them and the flexibility that they have in their environments. John DeBuey at Barksdale Federal Credit Union made the comment that Unisys has been our primary IT provider for a couple of decades. The availability of ClearPath MCP for an open world gives us the ability to use what we love in a VMware environment. This is a very powerful statement coming from what was considered a mainframe vendor just a few short years ago. When he talked about the results and the benefits of what he's gained by using Software Series, he's talked about the reduced cost of total ownership and the enhanced value of the existing VMware environment and being able to utilize what they currently have for the rest of their IT needs. They have improved service to their members through faster transaction processing, and they've gained greater control over the IT environment through their server operating system consolidation. As you know, we've been going down this path of Software Series now for about 4 years, and we've made great strides. And if you notice, we are now up at that top step of ClearPath Platinum. But we started moving towards this type of environment just about 11 years ago when we introduced the Libra 400. That got us going into standard types of environments, meaning Intel and Windows-based types of environments. And we've made many strides. Our engineering teams have made many strides over the last 10 years to get us to the point that we are today. Platinum has a lot more power than you have with Gold, a lot more performance that you can attain with Gold. Essentially, it's 1.5 times the performance. And Gold just came out 2 years ago, so we've made great strides in these last 2 years. ClearPath MCP Software Series refers to an umbrella program that essentially encompasses all of our Software Series products. It's our innovative way of delivering a software-only platform without the integrated hardware. So today we have Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Platinum, and we refer to these sometimes as our Metal series, our Metal products. And then we have our Developer Studio suite of products as well. And each of our Developer Studio products is aimed at a certain performance range or capacity range that you have, such as with Bronze and Silver, you would be looking at the Enterprise or the Standard editions. And for Team Edition, that would go along with Gold. So if you were doing development for a Gold environment and wanted to test the performance that you would be getting on the hardware of your choice, you might consider the Team Edition. For Platinum, we've introduced now a Platinum Edition of Dev Studio as well. All of these software series products have the same variety of environments that you can deploy on. All of them can be deployed on client-supplied hardware or hardware that you purchase through Unisys or ES3000 lines, and they can be run on VMware or Hyper-V. Our software series production loads, workloads, if you look at this system, at this series of steps that we have here, Platinum is 1.5 times the capacity of Gold. So what that means is if you took a instance of Gold and ran it on the server of your choice in your environment, and then you decided to run Platinum on that same exact server, you should be able to get provided there's enough hardware there to do this, meaning cores and processors, then you should be able to get up to 1.5 times the capacity that you get with Gold. Now, Silver and Bronze are on our low end, and they were targeted at our Libra 400 series users. Gold is a transition path or an option for our Libra 4000 users, and MCP Platinum is an option for our Libra 6000 users. It's considered to be our high-end capacity and consumption software series option. It's our high-end capacity software series product, and it provides the option for your Libra 6000 systems, and you can deploy it for a software-only environment. And it's the next step in our roadmap, and as you might guess, we'll have another step on our roadmap that will follow this that will be aimed at offering a choice for our Libra 8000 users. Platinum has the availability of 12 gigawords of MCP memory. It's supported on Metal and on VMware and Hyper-V. We now are providing guidelines for migrating your VSS disk data to an emulated disks, and that's provided in the implementation guide, and there's a best practices guide that's provided for migrating systems using physical disk. Tape support is only on Metal. There's no tape support for VMware or Hyper-V, and no support for optical disk. And this is the same throughout the product line. It's not different on Platinum. It's the same for all of our software series. ClearPath MCP Software Series 3.0 can be run on MCP 18 or MCP 19, and we have installation packages for either of those options. It can be deployed on Windows 2016 or Windows 2012 R2. We only support MCP networking v3, and what that means is native BNA is no longer supported. Our Platinum capacity set is equivalent to the Libra 6000 class systems when best practices are followed. And what that means is the type of CPU is important, and in this case we'd be looking at the Skylake CPUs or the Intel x86 Gold CPUs. The underlying environment is also important. So if you're running on Metal versus on a hypervisor, you'll see a little bit better performance on a bare metal system. It's dependent upon your workload. And again, just like our other software products, because there are so many variables, we don't offer a performance guarantee, but we can assure you that our engineers have tested and gotten the performance as indicated by the Libra 6000 class of servers. But again, you would have to follow all of the instructions that you would find in our compatibility guide. So if we take a look at the whole product line for software series, starting with Bronze, that's a projection-based and it's user-based licensing. It utilizes one CPM or one processor. The deployment is on a reference architecture virtualized with 4 gigawords of MCP memory, and its use is user-based production. So there's one capacity set and you license it based on users. For Silver, we have different capacity sets offered. There are 10 capacity sets leading up to 1 full CPM. And then after that, we go to 2 full CPMs with our capacity sets for silver. And again, it runs on a reference architecture, virtualized with 4 gigahertz of memory, but it's licensed on capacity, not user-based. So that's the difference really between bronze and silver. With gold, we introduced our MCP equivalent to metering, and that was our consumption-based, and then we had a non-metered, which is our capacity-based. So you can have up to 1 full CPM and then up to 4 CPMs after that. It gets up to, you can have up to 6 gigahertz of memory, MCP memory, and this is considered the mid-range offering for capacity set. And then we come to our Platinum. It's production-based. The workloads are similar as to what you have on Gold, meaning that you have a general production, you have your AB suite, and you have various business continuance types of environments available to you. Again, you can go up to 1 CPM, but that 1 CPM is 1.5 times what you have on Gold. Gold was 2 times the capacity that you had with silver. So 1 CPM of gold is 2 times 1 CPM of silver. And so placing Platinum in there, it's 1.5 times gold, and you can have up to 8 CPMs with 12 gigahertz of MCP memory available to you. This is our high-end capacity and consumption based product. When we compare it to the Libra 6000, we are now CVU-based for our consumption model, and the CVUs of a single thread are approximately 150, and single image would be approximately 1,180 CVUs. And this is directly comparable to the Libra 6500 systems, except now it's software only, whereas on the 6500 you have an integrated hardware and software platform that's completely supported by Unisys. That's an HA type of environment. On a Libra system, you can't run on VMware or Hyper-V, but you can with Platinum running Software Series. So that's another main difference between the 2 different types of workloads or different types of working environments. The workloads essentially are the same. So you have general purpose AB suite and DRBC types of workloads. You can utilize BC Accelerator if you're running on metal for MCP Platinum. And again, it's networking v3, but that's the same as it is for the Libra 6000 series of servers. Our support model is its Unisys standard software support. And again, that's because we haven't integrated the hardware platform with the software series. If you want an integrated platform, the 6000, 6500 systems offer you that type of availability. For Software Series MCP Developer Studio editions, it's important to note that all of the different editions have the same product set. So in other words, if you're developing on a standard edition or a team edition, you would get the same capabilities as you would with the premium edition or the platinum edition, meaning that you have access to AIS and data exchange and all of the products that you would need for an environment, including Visual Studio, Visual IDE. So all of the products that you have available in a smaller Developer Studio edition, you would have available in the premium edition as well. And I'm sorry, in the Platinum edition. The Premium edition runs on a Libra server. So again, you're getting the same capabilities. You get AIS and Visual Studio and all of the different tools that are available for development. You get them with the Premium edition on the Libra server now. So that was a change that we've made. The Premium edition is on the Libra server, and that is the equivalent of an SDK version, except it has the extra products that you would have received with a Developer Studio. So Platinum has all of the same capabilities that you've come to know and love in the other MCP Developer Studio editions. Once again, for bare metal, the environment that you would run on is the same as it would be for bronze, in the sense that it's a single server type of environment. We have not done a high availability for a bare metal type of environment for our software series products. Meaning we don't cross-couple servers or anything like that. It runs in a single server environment. So as you can see, what we would provide in this case, if you were licensing ClearPath MCP Software Series, we provide the MCP OS and the firmware. Everything else is optional. Everything that you see on the right side, the hardware you can choose. You can purchase it from Unisys, or you can get it from a hardware vendor of your choosing. The NICs, the HBAs, all of that. But we do make recommendations of the types of server and the performance of the server that you might want to consider. You can run it on different servers, but in order to get the performance that we've seen in our testing, we do have recommendations for you. So we would encourage you to work with your Unisys representative to determine what is appropriate for your environment. When you deploy on VMware, it's a similar type of environment. We always provide the operating system and the firmware for MCP, the Windows and your VMware environment, as well as the platform. You have options and you can make choices for your particular environment. So if you happen to have, for example, an enterprise type of license for Windows, where you have like a site license, you can utilize those licensing choices to run the MCP software series. So we've released 3.0, and we've released it on all of our software series products, so our bronze, our silver, gold, and our developer studio. And with 3.0, you can take an existing CSS 2.1 and transition it to 3.0. But you would need to load the latest MCP ICs for either MCP 18 or 19 prior to doing the firmware update to CSS 3.0. We're again supporting the consumption and capacity-based licensing options, and this is for Platinum specifically, as well as our Team Edition for Dev Studio and our Gold Edition for Software Series. We've made vast improvements in our I/O resiliency. We've reduced the number of I/O restarts by improving on our Windows I/O handling, and we now have a new best practices document that you can find out on the support website that gives you guidance to implement on bare metal VMware and gives you guidance for migrating and also on high availability. Other improvements or features that have been added with our CSS 3.0 is you can now operate an Active Directory as a member. And we weren't able to do this in our previous release, so this is a great enhancement. It allows you to have centralized control and management of security through user authentication, and it allows you to globally define users who will have rights to access and operate a CSS environment. We've also made enhancements to our MCP disk encryption feature, and this was available to you by the added support of VSS2 and VSS3 formatting on emulated disks. So this is a feature that many clients have been waiting for, so we're kind of excited about this one. We've also made great security enhancements through our Kerberos authentication, our ODT user authorization, and our app locker whitelisting. These are features that we've gained through Microsoft. So we encourage you to take a look and start implementing these features on your software series environments. Now, when licensing a new instance of software series, you will see an installation package, and these installation packages will be available to you on the Unisys Download Center. In these installation packages, you will find the hardware, the operating environment, the MCP software, whether it's MCP 18 or 19 for Platinum. You'll get a custom order data file that contains information that's unique to your specific order. You'll get activation keys that are required that you are that will allow you to enable the functionality of the system, and you obtain these through the Unisys Download Center. You'll have more information regarding the activation keys in the welcome letter. You'll get an installation package delivery, and that's the download from the UDC. The installation package does not include your Windows operating system or your device drivers or firmware. Over on the right side of the screen, this is a screenshot of what you might see on the Unisys Download Center depending upon what is included in your order. So as you can see, you would go to each of those tiles and download what you require for your particular environment. So now I'm going to talk about the releases that we've made for the Libra 4500, 6500, and 8500. We've been busy this year with a lot of different releases. The Libra packages have many of the features and capabilities that you've come to expect from your MCP environment, meaning there is security that we're very, very proud of in how few intrusions and how few times we've had to worry about security on our systems. The scalability of our Libra systems are unsurpassed. The Libra 8500 took us to new heights that we hadn't been able to see before on an MCP system. The integrity of our systems, the manageability of our systems, our interoperability, the flexibility, and all of the compatibility that you've come to know and love with your Libra systems, they're all still available with the Libra 4500, 6500, and 8500. But what you get is added performance. So with the Libra 8500, we had additional performance improvement of over 25% for single thread performance over the 8400, which was outstanding actually. And for single image performance, we had a 27% improvement. And it runs on the fully configured hardware and memory and processors and the fully integrated system that you have with the Libra environments. When you start comparing our Libra environments, the product attributes, as you can see here, I've compared the Libra 4300 to the Libra 4500. We didn't have a Libra 4400 series, so that's why it's compared to the 4300. We came out with gold 2 years ago instead of a 4400. But when you look at this, you can see we made improvements in the number of networking ports and the user I/O storage ports. But in order to keep the costs in line with the 4300, we maintained the performance of the Libra 4500 to that of the 4300 and to that of gold. And that was to keep the pricing in line as well. If you need additional performance, we now offer the 6500, and again, we added performance to the 6500, which takes it up to 650 MIPS for single image, for single thread, and single image up to 5200 MIPS with 12 gigawords of memory. So this is very comparable to what we are offering with Platinum, except you have all of the choice available to you instead of an integrated system. So you can have up to 16 gigabit fiber and 180,000 IOPS, and it's the integrated platform that's been completely tested, and performance has been derived from all of the testing that we've done, but the system is all integrated together to give you high availability. And the hardware is similar to that which you find with the Libra 8500 on the 6500. So it's very similar to the 8500 in many aspects, except that the performance is a little bit less. It supports MCP 18 and now 19. So the minimum level is MCP 18. So this was a technology refresh on our mid, high end, and premium models with the Libra 4000, 6000, and 8000. Now, something to note here is that notice we said 6X90. So we did not come out with a non-metered version of the 6000. If you want a capacity-based 6000 type of environment, we have our Software Series Platinum that is launching today, and that's where you'll find that type of an environment. But basically that was due to low customer, low number of customer, low volume of the 6500 in the 6000 range of non-metered types of systems. So you do have an option if that's something that you need, but we did not offer it on the Libra platform. The performance improvements that we've made to the Libra 8500 and 6500 models, we maintain the performance on the 4500 model. High availability is standard because you have your redundant PMMs, ISMs, your op servers, and all of the connection. And your fabric infrastructure is no longer offered. Instead, we're using our ConnectX 4 cards instead from Mellanox, and so it's a fast Ethernet. So the 8500 performance, 1000 MIPS on single thread, 14,600 MIPS for single image with 220,000 IOPS per second. It's 16 CPMs, which was the same as the 8400, and it's E-mode level ADA. It has high availability as a configuration standard. The business model is what you've come to know with MIPS and pay for use with a metered workload. For the 6500, it has expanded I/O, more high-speed storage connections, improved networking performance, and it gives you a choice of the MCP workloads, meaning you can run production workload, you can run a development workload, which would be our Developer Studio Premium, and you can also run an AB suite or BC types of workloads. The 6590 has 650 MIPS single thread, 5200 MIPS single image with 180 IOs per second. This was a performance increase over the 6490. It has 8 CPMs and 12 gigawords of memory, which is the same as the 6490. The 4580 and 4590 are mid-range MCP application processing environment. We have the high availability configuration as standard. That was not the case on prior releases of the 4000. It was a choice to have HA. Now it's a standard offering for our Libra 4500s. And you have the choice of the business model. So you have the traditional fixed MIPS, or you can have the pay for use of metered MIPS. Its expanded I/O configurations have more high-speed storage connections with improved networking performance. And you have, again, your choice of MCP workload types. The 4500 product attributes, it's 550 MIPS single thread with 90,000 IOs per second, similar performance to that of the 4380 or 4390, except it's running on a Skylake processor. The Libra 4500 configuration has 4 CPMs and 6 gigawords of MCP memory. So all of these hardware configurations, the 4500, 6500, and 8500, utilize the underlying architecture, which is based on the ES3000 Model 3560R G6 server, and it's used for PMMs, ISMs, and the op servers now. When we first released, we had a different server as the op server, but we've since changed it to the 3560R G6, and those again are running on Intel Skylake CPUs. The PMM physical memory, it's 24 by 32 DIMMs, so that's an increase over prior models, and we have a number of networking PCI cards that can be used. So the number of ports that you'll have available to you will vary depending upon how you configure the cards in your Libra system. So you can have a dual port or quad port, either copper or fiber channel cards. And so that's one choice that you make. And then you have your fiber channel as well as your networking cards, and you can choose how many of each of those cards that you want to have within the system. And again, you have 2 ISMs and 2 PMMs within the system itself. So we now utilize the 4-port fiber channel card. That's a 16 gigabit card. We also have maximum number of devices as 4,095 for a Libra 6500, 8500. The 4500 has a limitation of 3,000 ones. The interconnect between the different components, the PMMs and the ISMs, is a Mellanox X4 Ethernet interconnect card. And each of the PMMs will have 2 of these ConnectX cards. And then the op server will have, I forgot to remove this, the op server is now the same as the PMM and the ISM, so that's a change on this slide. The iDRAC is used in the ISMs and the PMMs. And then we're utilizing Windows 2016. That's what we ship with each of these systems. It runs on all of the ISMs, PMMs, as well as the op servers. Again, we're using MCP networking version 3, and there's no native BNA available. The supported releases are MCP 18 and 19. MCP 17 is not available for these systems, and our pricing models are either metered MIPS or capacity-based MIPS. The architecture is similar to what you had on prior Libra systems, except now you'll notice the 100 gigabit internal Ethernet-based LAN that runs between all of the different components of the integrated system. So that's the major change as far as what the architecture is beyond the speed of the processors and the servers that are actually used within the system. And all of this is packaged, integrated and packaged by Unisys and delivered to your doorstep in a running state. Or able to be run state, I should say. What you get with our Libra systems is it's a single vendor advantage. And what we mean by that is if there's a problem, there's only one company to call, and that's Unisys with our Libra systems. So if there's a hardware problem, you call Unisys. If there's an MCP problem, you call Unisys. If there's a firmware problem, you call Unisys. So it's a single vendor advantage. This is different when you get to our software series because you now have options, and with choice and flexibility come different responsibilities, and one of the responsibilities would be to determine what type of situation you're seeing in your environment and then calling the appropriate person. Now that might be Unisys. So for example, if you were to license MCP Bronze and you're running it on an ES3000 on bare metal, that one call could still be to Unisys, but it operates a little bit differently as far as like for example, call home. The call home on an ES3000 is not integrated into the MCP software. So it is a little bit different, even though you would still be calling Unisys. What the operating system sees, what call home sees, is a little bit different than what you see on a Libra system. But what this gives you, having our Libra system, is it allows you to have an integrated system without having to do all of the work of doing the integration yourself. So that's a big benefit that we feel to our Libra systems. However, if choice is the most important thing in your environment, we have many choices available to you. And let's go over how you make that decision. So now we have almost a full range of systems that we had with our Libra systems. We're almost to the full range in our software series offerings. So how do you choose? And if you do choose our software series, do you want to run it on bare metal or do you want to run it on VMware? So there's choices that you can make. And so what we've done is we've tried to lay out, what the factors are, that pertain to these different areas. So the MCP processing architecture, as you can see on our Libra systems, is distributed functional components, and all of those are integrated for you by Unisys. If you're running on bare metal, it's a single server for MCP, and it's all of the processing as well as the I/O on a single server. And then you can have a second server as your ops server platform. For VMware, it's a separate VM instance for MCP and the ops server. So you would have two instances essentially on a VMware type of environment. For processing performance, you would have a fixed Libra model. So we're pretty reasonably sure of the performance that you get with a Libra model. Versus running on bare metal with MCP is depending upon the server that you choose. So again, it's your choice and you have the flexibility to do that, but definitely your performance is based on the underlying hardware that you've chosen. And for VMware, it gets even a little more complicated because it's dependent upon the client instance of your choice as well as the underlying hardware that you have available to you in the VMware environment. The deployment technology, the hardware is predetermined in a Libra system, and change requires a new Libra model to be released, such as we just did this year with a complete refresh of our product line. So it's predetermined by Unisys. You will receive the servers that we have chosen for our Libra systems. When you move to our software series, you do have the choice of choosing what you want your performance to be. Now the value in that is, let's say that you have licensed Platinum, and today you're running it on a Broadwell type of processor from Intel, and the performance is adequate. It's what you expected. But now Intel has come out with a new chipset and it's faster, and let's say it's Skylake, and you want to now move to Skylake. You don't have to wait for Unisys to do an integrated platform for you. You can move and get that performance boost based on the platform that you choose. And that's the same whether it's on VMware or on bare metal. You would still be able to choose what the platform is. Now for resource reallocation, you would have replacement of the Libra hardware and software licenses. So it's a full, replacement of everything that you had. For software series, you have a replacement of the server hardware, and then we would reissue a software license key based on what your support agreements are with Unisys. If you're running on VMware, you can vMotion to a new instance of a new hardware platform, and you would not require a new software license key in order to do that. MCP storage types, you'd have traditional MCP storage devices and connections for the Libra series. When you're running on bare metal, you have those same types of devices and connections that you have on the Libra system, which is great. Then when you move over to VMware, VMware defines the storage types and connections that are available to you. So it's a little bit different for storage. The support model, as I indicated earlier, for our Libra systems, you have single support responsibility, and that's Unisys, and that's for the hardware, the software, and the infrastructure. When running on software series, it's a shared support responsibility. So Unisys handles the software, and possibly we might be the hardware supplier. And in the cases where we would be talking to Microsoft. However, you have the option of having a hardware supplier, Microsoft, and VMware for your different environments. And it's the same with the VMware. Our purchasing business models, we've moved from the metered and non-metered types of systems with the Libras to capacity-based with consumption and fixed CPMs. So by fixed CPMs, you're choosing the number of CPMs and the capacity set. And as I indicated before, for example, Platinum is now 1.5 times gold. And that's the same with VMware between the software series. It's the same for whether it's bare metal or a VMware environment. Disaster recovery. The Libra system, as you know, has you have different disaster recovery types of options available to you. You can have a duplicated Libra system. You can have pooled MIPS with capacity keys. And then for our software series, you can have duplicated CSS configurations running on bare metal with pooled CVUs and COD keys, so similar type to our Libra environment. And then on VMware, you could have a duplicated CSS instance on a separate VMware host and use the VMware HA type of capability. So high availability, you have duplicated Libra components in the Libra servers. So again, you have 2 PMMs, 2 ISMs, and 2 op servers, and this facilitates, and we facilitate the Unisys failover capabilities. For software series on bare metal, you can duplicate the CSS platforms, and you can have client failover procedures that you implement within your environment. And then similarly to the above, for redundancy on the VMware, you can have HA and vMotion capabilities available to you when you're running on the hypervisor environment. So I hope that makes it clearer as to what your options are and what when you're choosing between software series and the Libra systems. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Koss, who will be talking about services for these new environments.
Okay, thank you, Trudy. So you just heard about a whole bunch of capabilities that are available with ClearPath Platinum and a whole bunch of choices that you have. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how we can help you take advantage of them and decide what's right for you to do. So Unisys provides a comprehensive set of services for you all around your ClearPath MCP system. Product services to install and upgrade your system, managed services and outsourcing to host or run your system for you, take over your operations, or just augment your existing staffing. And application services to enhance or integrate your applications, to help you meet your, say, digital transformation needs. So there's a whole complete set of capabilities and services that we can provide you. Our product services, our people, our specialists, are the experts. So when it comes to how to best provision your system, set up your MCP environment, as well as evaluate any additional changes that should be done, our services people are there to help you and to make sure that every part of your environment is transitioned properly to the new MCP system and that it runs well. Specifically, for ClearPath Platinum, those services include implementation services to set up and configure the MCP Platinum firmware and the software onto the server or virtual partition, data migration services to determine the best layout and format for your storage and the methodology to move that storage to the new system. If you need help in selecting the platform, the sizing service can recommend a configuration for you, whether that's a physical server or a virtualized partition, based on your specific needs. The utilization analysis service looks at your system, looks at its utilization, that's the CPU, the memory, the I/O, and its configuration, and we make recommendations about how best to maybe modify the environment or to utilize the system. The Windows Upgrade service can be used to install a newer version of Windows underneath the MCP Platinum system when new versions of Windows come out and become available. And finally, the firmware upgrade service can update the underlying MCP Platinum firmware, which can provide you with updates or new capabilities as they're released in the future. You heard from Trudy talking about new features that came out with the CSS 3.0 release. So whether you're on bronze, silver, gold, or moving to platinum, the firmware upgrade service can get those new features in there for you. And when new features come out in the next versions of CSS, you can take advantage of those as well. So if you have staff that might be retiring or leaving, or you'd rather redirect your IT resources away from managing the system yourself, ClearPath Forward Managed Services can take over and fully run your environment for you, either in your data center, in one of our data centers, or in a third-party location. Or we can provide specific staffing to fill a gap, whether that's on-site or remote. If you need enhancements done to your application, we're there to help as well, either supplementing your existing staff or doing a specific project, maybe like a digital enablement effort for a specific application. So all of those things are capable from our Unisys services capability, from just operating and managing your system all the way through the application environment. We could even take over your whole application for you and run it as if it was, a package that you bought. Okay. So as the vendor and developer of ClearPath, we're the experts. Unisys is the experts, and we can provide you whatever capability you need, or even just have a discussion with you to help you better understand what the possibilities are and drive the innovation that ClearPath provides you with our tooling. So with that, I want to thank you. I want to turn it back to Matt, and it's time for questions.
Thank you, Stephen. That does bring us to the Q&A portion of the presentation. The first question that I have for you guys is, can Platinum be used with MCP 17.0?
This is Jeff Stale. I'm in the Unisys Engineering Program Management Office. So the answer to that is no. The minimum MCP level is MCP 18.
Excellent. Thank you. And the next question that I have for you is for disk encryption, how to choose between VSS2 and VSS3 emulated disks.
Again, this is Jeff. So VSS2 format was designed to handle 256-byte physical sectors. VSS3 was kind of forward-looking with anticipation of disk subsystems that would have 4K byte sectors. So for today's disk subsystems that have 256 byte sectors, the VSS2 format is just fine. I'm sure people are familiar with the performance benefits of VSS2. So I don't think there are any advantages with 256 byte sector disks using VSS3 yet. So I think that's the best way to answer that question.
Again, thank you, Jeffrey. The next question we have is, can Platinum be used on Windows 2012 R2?
And a correction, 512-byte disks, sorry. When I said 256. I'm sorry, it's Windows 2012 R2? Yeah, so the answer to that is yes. We have tested Platinum and CSS 3.0 on Windows 2012 R2. Something to keep in mind, though, is that that OS has gone out of mainstream support by Microsoft, so we would encourage people to move to Windows 2016. If a problem with Unisys software is found while running on Windows 2012 R2, we'll certainly support it, just like we would on Windows 2016, but we do encourage people to move up to the next OS.
And looks like the last question that we have here is, when is MCP Platinum available?
Today.
Available today?
Yes, it is. Available for shipment today.
Excellent. And as I said before, that is the last question that we have from the audience here. So you guys did a great job of explaining that to everyone. Trudy, I will turn it back to you for any closing statements that you might have.
Thank you very much, Matt. I hope you found the information in this presentation valuable, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us for the launch of Platinum. And with that, we'd just like to thank you very much and have a great day.